Be the narrator, right?
Okay, welcome. It's Pete and Al Vistaunet.
Brothers.
The brothers.
We were born of goodly parents.
That's right. Tell me about your parents.
Oh,
And Gladys Cecilia Gutu. Last name?
Vistaunet.
Yeah.
Depends on if you're Norwegian or not.
I was born with a cough.
Never got rid of it,
I
right?
haven't got rid of it yet.
Well, I came first, though. I came in 1936. 4 years later, this guy arrived. The cougher.
The coffer.
Arrived.
In 1940.
1940. And I experienced the worst winter they'd had in Minnesota in I don't know how many years, but it was 50 below for 6 straight weeks. That's when Daddy said to Mommy, honey, we're moving to California where your smart relatives live.
Where's
So
Teresa?
I came to California when I was a year old, and I don't ever remember living on Bronson. Do you remember living on Bronson?
Yeah, that was the first house. Actually, they went back or something, and then to Minnesota, and then came back. We lived with Grandma for a while, Inga.
Okay.
And then our first house was on Bronson. It was a duplex, I think. And we weren't there very long, and then we moved to the house you remember.
Montclair.
Montclair, that's right. That was another duplex, wasn't it? Kinda? Or was that
No, that was a
single?
house.
That was the one
That was
house.
a
That was the street?
But boy, it had a big
That
tree
was the
next
street,
door.
Yeah.
There was a big tree next door to this house. And I
Oh.
remember I guess Mom and Dad were both gone, and
We were on vacation.
Auntie Thelma was babysitting us. And dumb Al
And I was-
goes and climbs a tree.
I was tree climbing. House next door down the street, pepper tree, big pepper tree. Seemed like, 50 feet in the air, but of course being little, it was probably 10, 12 feet in the air, I don't remember. I fell out of it. Pete was there. So you went running home, and what'd you say?
Lowell's been killed.
Yeah, killed. Let's go by my middle name.
And
then, Lowell.
Annie Thelma was pregnant, and no one around. I don't know what happened other than he'd been killed.
All I remember is I fell down, all the bricks, I was bringing bricks up on this platform. We were building a tree house. Hauling the bricks up and setting them right there. Well, pretty soon, if you keep setting bricks there, you're not nailed down yet. The last brick going up, all of a sudden everything went. Bricks and platform and then went down and knocked me out. I remember waking up. The paramedics were there, and can you hear me? Can you hear me? And then the eyes closed, and I'm in the ambulance, and these traumatic things you kind of remember, and going to the hospital, and waking up in a hospital, and then it's just all I don't remember. That was it. Nothing broken, nothing bad.
You would have been about,
That was
what,
it.
8 at the time? 7 or 8?
Yeah, if you were 3 or 4,
Yeah,
so
I was only
7
about
or
3 or
8.
4.
Yeah.
But all I remember is Lowell's been killed.
Killed, yeah.
That's the way it was explained to me.
And then he was happy about it. That's it.
Really?
And no more hand-me-downs. Let's see, what else do we remember?
Then we went to 37th Drive after
Road
that,
Estates,
right by the
yeah.
Coliseum.
Yeah.
We lived there for about 2 years, I think.
2 years.
I remember there was a pond in the backyard, or the side yard.
Side yard, right?
And there were 2 little
cottages.
cottages in the back.
A couple of
And,
rentals.
Couple of rentals.
Little rentals we had.
And lived there for a couple of years, and
What
then
was it, $20 a month or something?
Oh,
I mean,
it's
they were
something
like,
ridiculous. Yeah.
I can't even remember, Joe and something Truscall lived in
Were the
one.
Truscalls there?
Truscalls lived
Okay.
in one,
And Ruth and Ray were there.
and Ruth and
Yeah.
Ray Brock lived in the next one. But we were there for quite a while till Portland Street.
Just a
wasn't it?
couple of years, yeah. Then we moved to 2142 Portland Street in Los Angeles, which was right near the fraternity and sororities over at USC.
By the way, 37th Street is about 5 buildings from the SC campus. It was right near Vermont.
It's also
So-
about half a block away from a really neat donut shop.
Another good story. We used to go to this donut shop, and we're like, this is my little brother, and I'm there, and if you sing for us, we'll give you a donut. So, that sounds pretty cool.
So, Mr. Mastermind, Pete sings.
Sing, yeah, so I had him sing. He's the little cute one, see? Everybody always likes the little Donny Osmond guy, so that was him. So,
And I remember the song too.
Mr.
Maresy dotes and dozy dotes and little lambsy divey, a kiddly divey too, wouldn't you?
That got us both donuts.
We got us donuts. And we'd come home and Mom would go, where'd you get those donuts?
Yeah. I thought we stole them. No, we wouldn't do that. That was good. He had a good voice too. So that worked. That worked for quite a while.
Yeah, up until I was about 18.
Yeah. And I think you were 22. It worked a long time. It had changed ownership and everything. Oh well, that's another story. And then we moved to Portland Street.
What year would that be?
47.
So,
I recall November of 47.
47.
Why did we pick November?
47. Yeah, you're right. It's 47. I thought it was. That's when the original George Tire Biter arrived at our house, because the upstairs we rented to students.
SC mascot.
Yeah.
No,
And,
not Traveler.
not Traveler,
George Tire Biter.
the dog.
A German Shepherd.
Kind of a mix. But yeah, a little guy, mostly German Shepherd. Looked like one. Looked like a mini German Shepherd. The guy supposedly got him at the beach, Santa Monica Beach, came home all scraggly, as I remember it, and our mom says, "Get that flea-bitten dog out of here, he's gonna be all over the place." "Oh, please, we gotta keep, so Mom, I think she took it down to the vet,
Got it
got
cleaned
him all
up.
cleaned, and everything, brought her back home, and that was it. He was there. Well, he's there for only 8-9 months, because then the guys would take him to school, and let them come back. That's where he got the reputation. And then he finally went to start living at fraternity houses, and then he moved out of our place, and that was gone. I remember because I was about 12 or 13 when he was at our house, and they made the little USC sweater for him. And
That's the newspaper article I've seen.
yeah, it was new. That was in the newspaper, Daily Trojan. And that would have been 47, yeah, something like that. I was born in 36, so I was 11 years old.
I'm trying to remember then, was it about 1950 when SC beat UCLA, or UCLA beat SC?
One of the two.
And the tradition was that they would exchange the victory bell.
Big victory bell.
SC would paint it cardinal and gold, and UCLA would paint it gold and blue. Well, 1950, UCLA won.
Yeah,
And the victory bell miraculously disappeared.
disappeared.
And it was gone for what, about 2 or 3 years?
2 or 3 years.
And like resurfaced in 1952 or something like that. And
Guess where it resurfaced? In our garage.
there was a parade. There was a parade in downtown. And we went to the parade and I'm going, I know that bell. That was,
That's our bell.
they told me. I probably told both of us. But they probably, because I remember them telling me, they said, "Now Pete, we have something here that no one can ever know about.
So
Can you keep
super
a secret?"
Super secret.
You bet. Of course, how old was I? 9, 10?
9, 10.
Anyway, so that bell sat in our garage for 2 or 3 years until SC won again.
We had to promise never to ring it. Never to.
But
you hear what it sound like?
we'd sneak out there, lift up the guitar,
Close the car and run like hell.
I never heard that story.
Oh, haven't you?
Oh,
This
that's
is a big
funny.
bell. The bell's this tall.
It was
It's got 4 huge tires, on it, holding it. It's about this high. It's a bell like that probably weighed, I don't know, a couple hundred pounds. 4 tires and a thing that haul it behind a truck or pull it or something. But that was, yeah, bring it and run like hell, hope no one caught
Oh,
it.
don't you have the article on that in your
Yeah,
office?
still have
It
that.
shows, it has an article in his office that talks about the bell.
About the bell.
So your mom never found it.
Well, yeah, she was hiding it. She always kept it under a blanket or whatever. She had to know about it. She knew about everything going on there.
Yeah, you don't store anything at Gladys' house without her knowing.
And then how did it ever leave? I'm not sure I remember how it
Well, see, I don't remember it
surfaced.
leaving. Obviously, the Knights picked it up.
Yeah.
What was it, Herb Henson?
This
was
is the USC Knights, you know, the group that did service for the school. And some of them lived in the house there, so I guess it was time to reveal it or take it back or officially
SC1.
keep it or whatever. Yeah, that was Victor Bell.
So tell me about Gladys. Tell me about your mom.
Oh,
Well, what do you want to know about Gladys?
shoot,
You talking about Hap?
Yep.
Okay.
happy. Yeah. Yeah, where do you start? Just a gal 5'2", 5'3", about 105 pounds, something like that.
Dynamo.
Dynamo goes to sleep at 2 in the morning and wakes up at 4 or something like that, 6. I don't know, she could sleep on 5 or 6 hours.
Yeah,
easy.
go, go, go.
Go. Always right about everything. Don't ever argue.
That's right. Because I said so.
Yeah. Why is it that way?
But she had 4 sisters. The next one was, we're trying to figure out if it was Renee or Helga.
Yeah, you need help.
Because Helga we never really knew because she died in 1950 in a brain tumor.
Yes.
And then there was
After
Mert.
Helga came
Thelma,
Renee and then Mert.
and Thelma was the baby.
That was good.
But
Probably about 4 or 5 years, maybe, something like that. Otherwise, they were kind of like 2 years apart, 2.5 to 3.
and because we
5
had
women. And ours was the oldest. Grandma, or
Yeah.
Gladys was the oldest.
Yeah, Mom was the oldest. But because we had the biggest house, all of the family parties were always at our house. And all 5 sisters, plus Inga,
Grandma.
they would all show up at the house. They'd work into the small wee hours of the morning, getting ready for the next day. And they would just have a blast. And of course, we'd be in bed.
In bed by then. We could hear the party time. That was a no drinking era, kind of.
Yeah.
You don't remember them ever having any drinks or
No
that kind of
drinking.
thing. No smoking, no drinking, so it was
But lots of food.
lots of food, lots of laughing.
Lots of Norwegian food. They would all, boy, lots of lefse.
They also made lutefisk, and Grandma would have that in the kitchen. It's a fish from Norway, and she'd be put it in lye and marinated it.
And no one would eat it.
Smell, whew. They'd come home from school, that thing was El Stinko. And man, I ain't gonna eat that stuff. To this day, I still don't like it. Do you?
No.
Like it? No.
No.
They're not very good Norwegians.
Yeah.
Low lefse though. And what's the cheese?
Premos.
Yeah, Premos.
Al loved Premos. I never liked it.
That's good stuff.
For some reason, it just didn't hit my taste buds.
It's a dark orange cheese, and it's I love it. I think it's really good. It's different than cheese though. So I get that. What else? That was the food thing.
How about your dad?
Dad loved to play his horn. Loved to play his sax.
And if he couldn't play his horn, boy, was he a grump.
Yeah.
What do you mean I can't play? Yeah, Dad was very. No, he'd walk out of the house and forget his pants, but he'd never forget his horn. And it was always in the trunk of the car.
He always had it ready to go. As I remember, he was a professional musician. He was on the road a lot. And then I came along. And he decided, well, this is the time to be a father rather than being a on the road dad, not around. So that's when he stopped playing on the road, but he had his own little group. He played in town, so he played every weekend. And he became an accountant, basically, you know, his day job, so to speak. But never left that horn, played the horn all the time.
But Friday and Saturday nights were the big pay nights for musicians. Always gone Friday and Saturday nights.
Yeah, that was the big payday.
A lot of good bucks. I mean, you know.
Dance jobs, yeah. And they were short. They weren't always in Thief River Falls. They would go out to the close towns because there was a big dance or something. They were always available.
Of course, I don't remember anything in Thief River Falls, being only a year old.
Yeah.
But
It took both of them through the Depression, though, because that would have been in the late 30s,
Right after the war.
40s, and 40s, yeah. So living through those years, the horn was what kept the money coming in, you know, which were good.
the extra money.
So that was he loved music.
Oh yeah.
Total music. So if you got any music genes in you, you know why. Yeah. Could have come from both sides. Probably came from Grandpa V. You know. And we both played violin for how many years? I played 7 years.
I played for 3 weeks until they threw me out.
He played longer than that. He got pretty good at it.
I remember Down by the Sea, and that was the only thing I ever learned.
Let's see.
Down by the sea, just you and me. All right, stop it, Peter. Put your violin away. Now put your bow away very carefully, and don't come back.
And in his later years, wasn't he played for the Shriner Band?
Shrine and the Elks, the B-Prairie Elks, plus the Shriners.
That was really a good deal because he'd already had a little jazz band, you know, about 5, 6 guys that would always get together and
Dixieland
they
style.
they have a lot of parties at our house, and
We'd hide under the big table there and listen
Yeah,
to it.
that's
They
right.
knew we were there.
and the potentates, the head guys over the shrine, found out about this, and they went, "Well, this is cool," and so he kept him. In fact, all the potentates would say, "Hey, we want Vistaunet and his band to be our band to travel with us."
Traveling band.
They went all over the world. They'd take cruisers. They would always go freebie, freebie.
And most of the time with the wives too.
Yes, and the
Yeah.
wives would go too. So they would have a marvelous time. So Mom and Dad had a chance to go everywhere and play music. Oh, what Dad used to do when he was not inexperienced as a saxophone player, but going into a place where there was a little jam session going, he used to go in and say, "Hey, can I play with you?"
He had a sax with him at all times.
Yeah, them not knowing who he was, "Oh no, we can't do that, you know, we're regulated, this and that." So he says, "Well, I'll fool them." So he'd just come in, get his horn, he'd just come in the room playing when they were doing a set. I'd go,
Just go around, oh, this
Hey.
guy can play.
"Hey,
Yeah.
he's pretty good, come join us." So that's how he always got to play with all these groups and have a good time.
It worked good.
And Mom would sit there and listen.
Yeah, the story was Beverly Boulevard jam session.
Oh,
And
Teddy
he-
Buck, was Teddy Buckner there?
Teddy Buckner and Louis
Sure.
Armstrong too. I think.
Yeah.
We're up there and he somehow was able to go up with them and play. I don't think he just came in the door playing, but somehow talked, and that was his highlight. I got to play with these greats that were just there for a few nights playing. Some was on Beverly, but I can't remember the name of
The
the
Beverly
place.
Cavern.
Was that it?
I think that was it, yeah.
Could have been. Yeah.
But it was a little jazz club, and they played a lot of Dixie, which, you know,
It was his love, yeah.
Dad played, yeah. And so he would, but he stopped keeping his horn in the trunk when he wanted to make sure it was always with him. And one time he left his horn in the trunk, which he'd done, so he'd never forget it. Someone broke in and stole his horn.
Oh yeah.
I think it was a Con
Con.
or a Selmer,
Brand-
one of the
brand,
two, but
yeah.
a horn he'd had from the time he was in high school. I mean, really a nice one. And
Deep tone in it now, hard
Yeah.
to replace.
and so finally he replaced